5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! So it's 2019. I've got a few things to talk about in this video. So I've got some notes down here. I think we're gonna have a review of my year mapping. Got some YouTube news. You may have noticed what that is. And then briefly I'll talk to you about what's coming up soon. So, the year in review. Let's dive into the computer. So, to review my year, one site I really like going to is by Pascal Nice, and that's How Did You Contribute? So, type in my OpenStreetMap username and it gives me a load of statistics. So you can see a few things here. Over the last year, every time there's a green dot, that's a day that, not necessarily out mapping, but that's a day that I was at my computer editing. The 4th of March, did a particular lot of edits there. And we can see where I've been mapping most. In Durham, where I live, which makes sense. And so 2018, not quite as much mapping as 2017, but kind of about the same. And nowhere as much mapping as when I was at university. Since I've been an OpenStreetMapper, I mapped 42 countries, which is very interesting. The next thing I look at is photos. I keep all the photos in an archive that I've used for mapping. So if you want to prove how I was able to update the map for copyright reasons, I can say I was actually there. I took these photos. Back at the end of January, I was down in Cornwall, which is actually where my YouTube video channel started. So lots of photos there of sea battered Port Leven and a brig. You made me remember me mapping some of that. Later on I went to Leeds and did some mapping there. I was down for an event with the Geospatial Commission. I followed it up by doing some psychogeography in the evening. I've been to Wales, so you may remember me talking about how to map places where there are roads and other things have names in multiple languages. And there was some covert mapping in Lowestoft when I attended a wedding. What else did I do? This is Chesterfield on the way to Nottingham. A few trips where I did some mapping while changing trains. And I've done local mapping as well. So this is Boburn when I was hunting out post offices, but also at other local things of interest. Manchester, of course, for the OpenStreetMap UK event, but we did some mapping as part of that. Again, back in Durham, one of the colleges moved into a new site, so I updated that. It's that on the map, and occasionally just different walks in Durham. Then I did some mapping abroad. I went to Bosnia and Herzegovina, took photos whenever I could, even if we were just driving past places. And that was shortly followed by a trip to Italy for State of the Map. So I did lots of adventuring there and lots of mapping. After hearing lots of talks about OpenStreetMap. I went to Aberdeen and taught myself about OpenStreetMap. There were a few of us there, so mapped lots of different things. And I've even visited London. Did very brief mapping there. Again, more updating in Durham. This is a place called Dragonville in Durham. So there's just a couple of new shops and a new car park that I added there. Not always using photos, so there's other things we can look at. Yep, so places I go, I might not take photos, but I'll turn my GPS on to record where I am. I might use Keypad Mapper just to type in the house numbers. So I decided, as you can see here, to open up all the files that I've recorded over the year. I found it quite interesting, this where everything is, because a couple of outline blobs here. If you zoom in here, that shape's recognisable, and I think it's only this year that I've travelled enough to make it recognisable. So if I can't see it, if we do that, you can kind of make out that the shape of the UK. This Durham up here, and because I went down to Cornwall and recorded a bit on the journey. London there, lower stuff there. It's just enough to show the shape of the UK, which is quite fun. And of course, I did a bit of humanitarian mapping, which I should talk about in another video, and that's mapping without going somewhere. So you can look on my edits and you can see all the places I've mapped and the comment I did when saving it. So things like Wales, and I've done a bit of mapping in Ghana to prepare them for climate change and disasters that are happening. I think with rising water, a year ago there was a volcano that was likely to erupt, so I did some mapping there. Try and tell you about some more humanitarian mapping later. But now some news about my YouTube channel. I've decided to rename it. So instead of Awesome Diaries or OpenStreetMap Diaries, I'm going to call it Mapper Diaries. It will still be about OpenStreetMap, and still have the usual content, but instead of a picture that I spent about 5 minutes making, if that, I've got this little picture imagery and an animation that I spent far too long making and animating. And that means coming up in the new year, there's what I did at New Year's. I'm gonna have a video on that, where I've been. There's a London trip that some of you may know. I was there down in November. I'm still editing that video. More quarterly projects, because I think they're great, so I try and make sure I make a video for every project there is. And then, so I suppose it comes down to, well, what do you want to see on the YouTube channel? Are there mapping subjects, things about OpenStreetMap you don't understand, or you would like to know how I do? Have I done something in one of my videos you didn't understand? No one's using the comments yet, but put comments, nice comments please, and I'll see if I can make a video about that. And then, of course, please subscribe to the channel, because that's what motivates me. It also means if you subscribe and then click the little notification bell, you'll get alerted when these new videos that I make are available and online. So I'm going to leave it there and get on with editing some footage I've got from the last week. I'll put some videos somewhere around here, however YouTube works, I forget. So click those, but also subscribe.